Hello, you are looking at Myself as My Cards. We are a modest shop that offers card, candle, and astrology readings and supplies. And we are here to talk about the 2022 Dodal that I haven't talked about much. This is Leela. And so here it is. We do have some of these in the shop again, and they've been appreciated.
Good looking deck.
So if we were to talk about it proper, I'd say that we'd have to mention the little book. He did it in English and Spanish. It's nice. He always includes extra. There is French too. Yeah. He always writes a little extra. He talks about a little his philosophy and his he's got a cool take on how to look at the Marseille, and he likes the Dodal a lot because he's done many versions of it. It's one of my favorites.
Me as well.
So we've done a lot of reading with them. You like the Noble?
This is true. I do use the Noble. And I do use Robledo's Marcella a lot too. That's pretty much my take around town deck.
Yeah, the 2016 one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so that was one of the first mass production versions that he did. And it's a little thinner, it's a little easier to shuffle than those ones that he made in Argentina. I just respect the fact that he's trying to get these things printed in Argentina.
It's beautiful.
So what do you think? What do you like about this deck?
I like the cardstock. The size is a little large for me, but I can shuffle pretty good still.
Yeah, to give you an idea, this is the Fleur Noir case, and it fits pretty much in that. It's a little bit smaller than the Fleur Noir Dodal, which, if you guys are familiar with that, it's pretty big. So that'll give you an idea.
Yeah. But they shuffle nicely. The images on the cards are beautiful. There's ghosting, which is a fun little aspect to the card that I like.
We've been asked a few times about the ghosting. Some people are concerned, is it a misprint? Is it supposed to look like this? And that's one of the things that we wanted to definitely mention, is that it is meant to be that. Now,
why is it so?
Yeah, so there's so I've got a couple of ideas in my head, and you see what you read in the forums and things like that. But my understanding is has two different versions. Either they were conserving paper, and if there was a misprint on one side, since paper was expensive, they would go ahead and print the woodblock black lines on the other side. And so some of the historic cards, the actual original cards, if you looked at them, you would see the what's on the other side, just faintly. Then the other description that I've heard as well, which I kind of am a little bit leery of, is that when they hung the sheets to dry, maybe the other, the adjacent sheets touched and it made some kind of a transfer. But to me,
I almost felt like it was reusing the cards. Right?
Yeah, and essentially that's it. That first, yeah. I wonder if you can see it. Is it showing? Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, right. See that's what when we say ghosting, that's what we're talking about. Like up here in that upper corner, you can kind of see it looks like a coin, right? So it looks like it's maybe a 7 of coins or something.
That's kind of what I liked. I was just noticing here too, because the ghosting on this one is swords, maybe a 5 of swords or something, or a 7 of swords. I don't know, but I love that it's the Knight of Swords, the Cavalier de Swords with, I don't know, how do you Whoops, sorry. I'm new at this here. There we go. You can kind of see it. So it kind of gives you a little aspect.
Yeah, the over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's intentional. He includes that on purpose. It goes back as far as like I have the 6th edition of his when he used to print them at home and cut them himself and all that stuff. I remember the first edition that he did where he put that ghosting on there, and it was like this was years ago, but it was a special thing. The few of us that were first becoming interested in Pablo's work noticed, and we appreciate it. So it was cool to see him include that in this deck as well.
Yeah, it was like going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We didn't have a whole lot to say about it. It's a traditional type 1 Marseille, of course, the Dodal, right? But it is a good printing of it, and we have some of them in stock. Mm-hmm. I have one that has a minor imperfection on the box. It was the fold where it connects is ripped just a little bit. I put some Scotch tape on it, and if anybody's interested in getting a discounted, full, complete, otherwise brand new and awesome version of this deck, I will offer you a discount. Just find us on Instagram or Facebook, or go to myselfismycards.com, send us an email, and we will
be happy to supply it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was my pleasure to introduce Leela to you guys. She hasn't been on any videos yet, and you'll be seeing more of her here and there. Here's a few notable astrological events you can use to make your upcoming week work for you. I'm in the Pacific time zone, and I use tropical whole sign, whole house system with traditional rulerships. For this, I'm mainly looking for close prominent transits within the 3-degree intensity, with interpretations intended to help you propel and protect yourself. July 16th through the 22nd, 2023. Sunday through Wednesday, I call this Think Twice Before You Hit Send. Mercury is in Leo, and it squares Jupiter and Taurus. Fast everywhere, bigger grounded. So the way I picture this is the balloon that holds the ideas is coated with mud, meant to insulate and incubate them. However, the balloon is inflated by the ambition to grow, and the light of information is leaking out. To mitigate the leakage, lean into the Mercurian clarity and Taurian groundedness. So if that sounded a little abstract, I'm just going to tell you, you haven't seen anything yet. And but it might, at this point, if you pause and go back and try to picture what I'm talking about, if I wasn't able to articulate it the way I mean to, I'll get better at this. But it's through this analogy that we can kind of make sense of it's one way to make sense, one vision of many visions, of many interpretations you can make of this transit, and the following transits that I will also describe that are coming up in the week. Breathe deeply all week, peaking on Thursday. Mars in Virgo opposes retrograde Saturn in Pisces. So my image on this is the chef wants to improve the recipe, yet inwardly has soup boundaries. Remember patience and discipline to defend against frustration from your actions meeting resistance. Okay, now here's a doozy, but I think it's a good one. See what you think. All week, also peaking Thursday, we are what we feel. Polyphonic water in water. Sun is in Cancer, trining a retrograde Neptune dignified in Pisces. This is perhaps an excellent antidote to the Mars-Saturn opposition we just talked about. So in this case, we imagine a dream. Neptune, Pisces. Okay. In the tub with your crab claw hands, you're playing with your boats. You realize that almost all the Zia played in the bubbles when they were larvae. Zia are the little babies of crabs. They just leave the mom. They have little shell-like outer coatings, but they're invisible. They're see-through, and they look like little crab-like crustacean insect microscopic things in the water. You're in your tub with your crab claw hands. You're playing with your boats, and you realize that almost all the Zia played in the bubbles when they were larvae. And if you remove the drain plug of time, it all pours into the same imaginal realm. You find a vast collective float tank of consciousness on the other side of the pipes. You detect a low harmonious hum, mellow low music that when you listen closely you can detect is the ethereal reverb wash chorus of We Are the World. Hey, it's a trine, right? So it's not a nightmare. Of course, you don't remember it when you wake up, but that chorus lingers in the back of your head for the rest of the day. Leave it to somebody with Pluto conjunct Mercury to turn a trine into a nightmare. But there is purpose within that discomfort. We also have New Moon in Cancer, trining Neptune in Pisces. That adds to the sensitivity. Coincidingly, delayed by a day, the Sun will oppose Pluto in Capricorn. This is more familiar to daily life and more practical. It's the tug of wills, etc. But in terms of the thread we establish interpreting the other transits, this would continue, that it's a search for the truth about what shadow qualities arose from the dream. The vulnerability associated with Cancer arises and surrounds a thing that we value to protect it. Until a person faces, understands, and accepts that, it for them is a shadow. They see the shadow, not the actuality. Perhaps we can use the Neptune retrograde to crack the code. Dignified Neptune is confident in Pisces, but the retrograde is about inwardly being at peace with it. Sure, reviewing through the backward motion, but it's really only apparent backwards motion. All is moving forward. Despite the abstract dream, we can go forward with it. The Sun shows that others feel it too. 6.5 billion, if you count who's in the northern hemisphere under tropical astrology, or 8 billion for the world. We glow with this aspect, like a transparent crab babies highlighted only by the glint of the sun. But we don't have to define it or technically understand it for it to work for us. The Tao of the universe displays on a cosmological level the same nature that's in the psyche and the spirit, each similarly solving itself. And that transformation, though sometimes leaving you feel bruised, is inevitable and can sometimes even feel good. All of that makes the week sound like it'll be quite dramatic. For some it will be, for some it will be just background noise. But when we listen for it, we'll hear it. Okay, we went deep for that. I can't promise that they'll all be like that. Maybe that's a relief to you. Also, I can't fail to mention that the nodes move into Aries and Libra on Monday. And so for 18 months, that's going to be a shift from what the last 18 months were. And you can see what houses are affected in your chart. It's different for everyone. And but it suggests that the mode of our approaches to these things will have or require a proactive initiation, because the cardinality varies for the next 18 months.